Hello everyone! Welcome back! Welcome freaking back. As you guys can see by the title and the thumbnail of this video, for this entire weekend, Friday through Sunday, I am letting Siri control how many pages that I read a day. Now, me personally, I know I can read about 150 pages a day, so I think I want to challenge myself a little bit and push myself to at least 200 pages a day. So what I'm going to do is give Siri the option to choose a random number between 100 and 200, and we will see how many pages I end up needing to read per day. I think it'll be a fun little challenge, and I am currently still in the middle of, I am almost done with Rows and Chains, but I think in order to keep this video interesting and not repetitive from the past video that I just put up, because I read this book in that video, I think in order to keep this video interesting, I am going to grab a different book. So I've got a few options that I can choose from, and obviously if I choose a smaller book, I might end up getting to go through like a couple of books in this video. So I guess we can start out by figuring out which books that I want to choose from. So let's do that really quick. Pick out what books that I want to read. So I know one book that I am desperately needing to get to at this point is A Court of Silver Flames, especially because if you guys are a Sarah J. Maas fan, you guys know that Sarah J. Maas was just on Call Her Daddy with Alex Cooper, and she gave us the release date for the next two books. So I really need to finish up at least the ACOTAR series. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to Throne of Glass before this series continues. So I really think that I just want to get to at least some of this. The fear I have about reading this in this video though is that I'm not really going to be able to talk too much about it, because it is very much so a spoiler for A Court of Thorns and Roses. Like, I don't want me to have to like skim over some things that I want to talk about because I don't want to spoil things, and then I don't want some people to not get to watch this video because it's a spoiler video. So I'm not really sure what I want to read. I know that I really do want to eventually get to this book though, so we'll see if this is one that I end up picking up. I could also read Son of a Bitch. So I think this one seems really interesting and really gripping. I feel like this one could be a really good one to jump into. And then, oh my god, same f***ing book. Or I feel like I could read The White Octopus Hotel by Alexandra Bell. This one also seems really interesting, really gripping, really exciting. I've got a few options. I'm kind of leaning a little bit more towards the List of Suspicious Things to start out with. So give me a random number between 100 and 200. $168. Today, we are going to be reading 168 pages. I'm going to be reading up to chapter 19. So we'll see if this is something that I can achieve, and this is one thing that I do really like about these videos, because I'm not going to get in trouble if I don't finish 168 pages today. everybody. It is 8:52. If you hear someone walking around, it's not a ghost, it's a Shano. I ended up on page 109 last night. I did not get to my 168 that I was supposed to. So I will just be adding these pages to what I have to read today. So let's ask Siri. How many pages should I read today in between 100 and 200? Pick a random number in between 100 and 200. Why? Hey Siri, choose a random number between 100 and 200. 104. Good morning. It is Sunday. It is 11:08. Last night was daylight savings time, so that is why it is 11:08 and I am now saying good morning because it feels like it should be 10. And I slept in because we were over at our friends, our neighbors, for pretty much most of the night last night. Hold on, let me fix this. I did end up finishing all of my reading for yesterday and the reading that I missed from Friday. So this morning I am going to finish up this video and see how many pages that we need to read today. Give me a random number between 100 and 200. 146. Okay, so with that number, that should finish this book. So I'm going to move my goal tab to the end of this book. Will I finish these 146 pages today? Who knows? Who honestly knows? But I am super excited to finish this up. I haven't really been talking to you guys about this book really, and what I do want to say is that the beginning of this book, the author's note, there is a whole generation of Northerners whose childhoods were haunted by the murderer Peter Sutcliffe. One of my most vivid early memories is of the day that he was captured, when it became clear my dad knew him. I can still feel the shock of how close he got to my family. This book is in tribute to the victims, survivors, and those now adult children of whom I am one. The list of suspicious things is my love letter to God's own country. So this book is a story about our author's life but it's fiction. So I'm really enjoying it. I feel like it's really been exciting to read. It's been really gripping story. The premise behind this book is our young girl Miv and her best friend, they live in this town where this like pretty famous ripper, this murderer, this serial killer lives or is murdering. And they are determined to have a list of suspicious things, a list of suspicious people in their neighborhood around the area, just so that they can give their families some relief, some relaxation, because neither of these young girls' families are ready to admit that like they don't want their children outside in the world because something scary is happening. So they're like, oh, maybe we should just move. And then both of the girls are like, no. So the girls are basically trying to figure out who the Ripper is so that neither of them have to move. But this has been a really, really, really cute story. It's been really fun. It really feels like it is just a book full of mysteries, a book full of clues, a book full of really no answers right now. So, and I'm obviously loving this reading challenge. I love doing reading challenges like this because, like I said at the beginning of this video, it really does challenge you to see if you can read these pages. So obviously a new day, and the last clip that you guys saw was of me finishing this book. I have a lot to say. Now let's begin with this. I am rating this book a 5-star. This book was so gripping. It was exciting and confusing and just, I don't even have the words for this book because it was so good. This book follows our like two main characters, which are Miv and her best friend Sharon, and they are young girls. They're like 12, around that age, and they've grown together and they live in an area where there is a serial killer, there is a ripper, and the entire town is kind of concerned for obvious reasons, because all of these young women are being murdered. So they are basically trying to watch out for the rest of the people in this town, and Miv's family tell her that they are going to move, and so she is not too thrilled about that. She does not want to move because that's where Sharon is, that's where all of her friends are, so she doesn't want to move. This is her home, and she decides in that moment that she is going to, by herself, figure out who this Ripper is. So she has a list of suspicious things, a list of suspicious people in and around their neighborhood that could possibly be the Ripper and could possibly be where the Ripper is hiding out. So Miv is on a quest to figure out who the Ripper is so she doesn't have to move away from Sharon. And that's basically the plot of this book, is that Miv wants to find out who the Ripper is so that she doesn't have to leave. And I found that this book was so beautiful. This book was really crazy. The amount of plot twists and things that went on in this book were kind of outrageous. Like the amount of times that my jaw dropped or that I ended up gasping because of something that was going on, I can't even count on one hand. I would have to use 2, maybe 3 times because of the amount of times that happened. I genuinely adored this book. Sophie Hannah, she's a New York Times bestselling author. She wrote, "So engrossing, utterly heartbreaking, but also redemptive and hopeful at the same time." That's kind of the best way that I have seen it put as of right now. This book was so heartbreaking, but it also was filled with so much excitement, so much hope, and I just loved this. So I would highly recommend anybody read this book. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Make sure you leave a comment downstairs. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.